Show with Shep.
Touchdown, Braylon Edwards. Braylon Edwards, touchdown, Michigan.
Running pattern to Edwards, touchdown, Michigan.
Where we bring you the best in sports, entertainment, and insight. Join us every weekday from 2 to 4 p.m. as we break down the latest games, analyze the biggest plays, and dive into the hottest topics in sports. We'll have exclusive interviews with your favorite athletes and guests, and you'll get a front row seat to all the action. So tune in to the Braylon Edwards Show with Shep.
Got one-on-one going end zone. Edwards in the air. Oh, what a catch by Braylon Edwards. His second touchdown of the game.
On the Woodward Sports Network, where sports comes to life.
Did you feel it? I know you did. You felt it all weekend, right? I mean, there was a different vibe about this past weekend. I can put my finger on it, but I'm not going to believe anybody who says they didn't feel it if they indeed are a football fan. Welcome, everybody, to the Braylon Edwards Show. Glad you're with us. Kool-Aid is with us. Ryan is with us as well. Ryan, brand new to the program. Glad you're with us, my friend. Chime in anytime you like, but Braylon, what a weekend of football, man. I know oftentimes we start off on different things, but I love getting right into the meat of it, all about football. I know you were in Ann Arbor on Saturday. We watched a lot of football over the weekend, and we'll get to some overreactions and some things that you're really encouraged about. But how was everything there in Ann Arbor on Saturday night?
Everything was well. I think Ann Arbor had a good energy about itself. Not quite the same energy that it had years past in terms of what it was opening night after you win a national championship in 23, what it was in 23 after 22 and 21. So the energy as a whole wasn't that, but still was a fun environment. You could tell that they were excited for Bryce Underwood, and when they got a chance to see him in warm-ups, you started to hear the crowd kind of wake up around Ann Arbor. But a lot of fun. I enjoyed myself out there. It's always fun to kind of tailgate with alums and friends, and that's the space where I can connect with everybody before going inside the game and kind of locked into my suite.
Yeah, I was watching that game. I watched the Michigan State game Friday night, and I could not wait to get into the studio and talk to you and get your initial impressions, because when let's start with Michigan State, since it happened Friday night.
Yeah.
And I thought their defense looked pretty damn good. And please understand, we understand too the level of competition. I get that it wasn't LSU and Clemson or Ohio State and Texas. Fine. But all you can do is make first impressions.
Yeah.
I thought MSU's defense, their offense was solid in the first half. I don't know what the hell happened in the second half, but I thought their defense overall was pretty damn good. What was your takeaway from MSU this weekend?
Yeah, once again, it is against Western Michigan, not necessarily a good team, but you play against who you play against, and you want to see certain things. Well, we talked about Friday before the game. I said, I just want to see clean football. Like, that will let me know if Jonathan Smith is turning the tide up there in East Lansing. Are you playing clean football? Are you tackling? Are there missed assignments? Are there missed tackles? How does Aiden Childs look in the huddle? And I think for that first half, you saw exactly that. You saw an offense that was getting going behind Aiden Childs, behind the run game a little bit, offensive line protecting. That's been an issue for Michigan State for the last 5 years. Has nothing to do with who they're playing against. Their offensive line has not looked good. It can be playing against a MAC school or it can be playing against a University of Miami. They have been bad. That looked like they shored that up a little bit. And that defense, they were flying around. They were fast, physical, and they flew around. That was really good for Jonathan Smith to see with his team. Offense disappeared in the second half, but in these earlier games, sometimes it happens. I'm not going to make much of it, but all in all, a decent showing for Michigan State game 1 Friday night.
How does that happen? I mean, I bet you've been in that situation where you felt like you were unstoppable as an offense early on or later on, and you wonder what happened later on or early on, depending on the shift in momentum with you.
I think sometimes you just get a little bit off alignment, in the second half with some players. Maybe a wide receiver is, running the wrong route, or maybe a quarterback is not seeing something the same exact way, and you're trying to implement a little bit more on the offense. I think you have some miscues, and miscues tend to throw you off a little bit. And once it threw them off, I think Michigan State said, you know what, look, we've got the W. Let's just run the ball, get out of here. We'll figure it out, and we'll come back next week at home against Boston College. So I think they saw what they saw and realized they didn't have to do much more against Western Michigan, much like Ohio State probably felt. And they cruised in the fourth quarter. Into the third, fourth quarter, they just cruised.
Yeah. The defense, when you only give up 10 first downs, not many teams are pitching shutouts. In other words, turning you back for a 3-and-out on every single play. Forcing turnovers on every play. They had a pick. They forced some fumbles, didn't recover them, but forced some fumbles. Had a safety. I think there's a lot of things on which Michigan State can build. I get it that the competition, and we'll see how much better Boston College gives them a game in East Lansing.
Right, but you kept a team under 100. You kept a team under 190 total yards.
Yeah.
Like, essentially, when you look at it that way, I don't care what the team, blah, blah, blah. They kept a team in collegiate sports under 180 yards. Look, that's a really good showing by your defense. Says a lot. That's a lot to build on. In offense next week, you can really make your judgment. You want to judge how Michigan State is on offense, judge them next week, because they're going to open up the playbook a lot more against Boston College, and that would be a pretty significant victory for them.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
They had 4 sacks and 12 tackles for losses. And I think there's something to be said for that, too. Now, I've always been one of those people. I don't like taking things away from teams or individuals because of who they play.
Yeah.
If you're going to tell me, well, it was Western Michigan, then you're basically saying you can never be impressed with how they play. And I think there's something to be said for the first game anyway. First game, you expect them to get better. You expect them to shore things up. But overall, I think the defense is something they can really kind of, hang their hat on early on.
And sometimes these games just happen. Like, look, man, my sophomore year, we played against Utah. You know what the final score of the game was? It was Utah. This is 0-2. This wasn't the 04 team that went undefeated with Alex Smith, my classmate. Final score was 10-7. We came out of it with a win. We played Western Michigan that same year, 2002. Score was 28-20. 38-20. They scored some points. We scored some points. We figured it out. Don't take much in these early games. You don't know these teams. You don't recruit these games. You're really recruiting past these games. I know they tell you it's a horrible practice. Newsflash, everyone does it. So just relax. Take it with a grain of salt and take the good and the positive. Was that defense? And the positive is the things that have been bad for for Michigan State, the things that people have pointed out to, the lack of tackling, the lack of concentration on offense, the lack of being able to block somebody, and the lack of flying around. Those were things that looked good. That means there was an emphasis, and that means it was understood. So it's Western Michigan, it's game 1, but those were the emphasis points. And he looked well.
I don't know how much is enough, but 5 penalties, because I kept ringing in my head while I was watching the game.
Yeah.
You were saying you wanted clean football. 5 penalties, okay. You would hope for a few less than that against Western Michigan. But the bottom line is they got something on which they can build, and it's better to build on a win like that than it would be on a loss. Let's shift gears. Talk about Michigan, the game you were at Saturday night, big lights. The focus is on quarterbacks all the time.
Yep.
And I understand that. And I'm not saying it's necessarily wrong. But in this case, I think it's justified. I am not going to rush to judgment when it comes to a guy like Arch Manning, because social media was blowing up over the fact that Arch Manning in Texas struggled to get the ball in the end zone, struggled to move the ball down the field. I don't know where the hell the tush-push came from on 4th down, but whatever. Steve Sarkisian's this offensive genius, but that's what they show up with when you got a mobile quarterback who can throw on the run. But I digress. I'm not going to try and get too over my skis when it comes to Bryce Underwood, but I do know this. He looked the part, man, and he did not look like a freshman.
Can I go back to Arch since you opened up that door, or do you want me to wait to talk about Arch? And this is Bryce Underwood.
Whatever direction you
want.
What
would you prefer?
Deal with the Arch thing right away. Go.
So I'll start here. For as much as made about Arch, yes, he was facing a damn good defense in Ohio State. That's a really good defense. Matt Patricia, tip of the cap to him. That'd be the only thing I tip my cap to on him. But he had that Ohio State defense ready, and they got some players on that team. Arch had to face that defense in the mouth, at legitimately in the horseshoe. That's a tough defense. That is a tough defense, so you have to add that part. The second part that you have to add is Steve Sarkisian. I was going there, but thank you for opening that door before I got there. Sark always Sarks. This is what Sark does in big moments. He does not open up the playbook. He coaches timidly. He coaches to a manner where he hope he gets first downs. He hope he gets big plays out of his players and touchdowns so that he doesn't have to structure them. Going for a tush push, really? Yeah. This is what he did last year against Ohio State. This is what he does against Georgia. This is what he does, and it goes on and on and on. So this is also what Arch Manning was up against. Now, with that being said, you can tell that he is Cooper's son, not Eli Payton's. To be 20 years into Eli and Peyton and the camps and all the access that he has had, if Arch was truly a phenom, we would have seen it. And he's also not 18 like Bryce Underwood. He's 20.
That's right.
We're going on 20. So
he's also been in the same system for a couple years.
100%. So we would have seen a phenom we would have seen more if there was more. I don't think there's a phenom in Arch Manning. Now, with that said, you do have to allow him time to grow. You have to allow him time to take his lumps, his time to watch his film, time to grow as a quarterback. So do I think he's a phenom? No. Do I think he can be a better version of what you saw on Saturday? Absolutely. But it wasn't good.
No, it wasn't.
It was not good.
And it's not as much about getting his team in the end zone as it is about missing receivers who were open, okay? And I get the whole sidearm stuff if you can do it. Matt Stafford can do it. Patrick Mahomes can do it. If you can't do it, don't do it.
Yeah.
But I don't discourage quarterbacks from doing something like that as long as they can complete those passes. And he seemed unsure of himself at time compared to Bryce Underwood. And I know one is against one of the best teams in the nation. The other is against a team you'll forget in 4 weeks. But 18 years old, just turning 18, Bryce Underwood standing tall in the pocket. On top of all that, the fact that his coaching staff threw on the very first play, first and foremost.
Yeah.
And there was a play later in the game where I really thought they were just going to hand it off because they were in the shadows of their own goal line, and it was third down and long. I don't know exactly what the yardage was. He threw for it, and he got the first down. And there's something to be said for that. And he rolled left on one play, Braylon. You probably remember better than I do. He was rolling left. He threw across his body. It is such a hard throw. But to have the guts for that coaching staff to dial up some of the plays for him showed an awful lot of confidence in them and tells you exactly what they think of him.
We can start with the coaching staff. Chip Lindsey did a great job.
He did.
He did a great job of putting Bryce in comfortable spacing, comfortable positions. He had comfortable outcomes. He put him in spaces to have success. Little rollout passes where he was able to hit the wide receivers. And mind you, he was putting the ball exactly where he was supposed to. Little rollout plays where you got the tight end coming back across the field. Nice little setup with Hayes. I get to him later,
Justice Hayes is good. Yeah.
Setup with Justice Hayes. We said this was going to be the thing. They'll run the ball. They'll have success in it, open up the passing game. Klein is going to be major for Bryce Underwood, and he was major in that game. So kudos to Chip Kelly and kudos to Sharon Moore for allowing Bryce to throw backed up against his own field, backed up third down and long, and you just want to hand the ball off, and he didn't. He passed the ball. I love that. I'll take it a step further, Matt. What I loved about it, they showed confidence in letting him throw over the middle. Now, I'm not saying every pass was a smart pass. That is something that 19 will have to work on, but we can talk about that later in the season. Game 1, I'm not pressing. Coaches don't allow quarterbacks to throw the ball over the middle if they don't trust them. Throwing over the middle is one of the most dangerous things because quarterbacks can't necessarily see coverages as they change, as they evolve throughout the course of a play, especially an 18-year-old quarterback. He threw over the middle a handful of times in this game, showing that the coaches had trust in him. And he also threw outside breaking routes. I saw a couple comeback routes in there. To be able to throw that, which is one of the longest routes in the route tree, you're talking about running a comeback route on the outside. You're throwing 40 yards across the field.
That's arm strength right
That's
there.
arm strength. So to see that, there's a lot of trust in him early, and I'm glad that though New Mexico, they start showing it so he could see it, so he could feel it in-game experiences. It's one thing to do it at Schemberkler Hall, at night. It's another thing to do it in the stadium because you won't be playing in Ann Arbor this coming Saturday. So I like what they did. I like where Bryce was. Now you see why I told you guys when I was walking around Schemberkler Hall, there seemed to be an air about what this team could be. So I like it out of Bryce, and I won't make too much of it, but it was a really good opening for Chip and Bryce as a tandem.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Chip Lindsey. I really am because I'm not sure he gets nearly enough credit.
Nah.
He looked like he put his players, not just Bryce Underwood, in very comfortable positions to be successful. Like you mentioned Marlon Klein. That dude is a son of a bitch.
Yes,
he is so good. Yeah. And Michigan is becoming the tight end school. They really are. I mean, this kid's 6'6", 245, 250 pounds. Can run.
Jake Butt,
right.
That's what he reminds me of. He's more Jake, but Colson Loveland was a ridiculous athlete. Like, he reminds me of a Jake Butt. Really good athlete, but also a stout, kind of has a little old school tight end, a little Mark Shimura too. He can catch you and get jiggy with it. But I also like how Chip, Last year, Samaj Morgan didn't necessarily have the year people wanted him to have, and we know that was not necessarily him that was the incumbent all. Yeah. But now what they do is he doesn't need to be our wide receiver one on the outside and just say he's the guy in deep balls and this, that, and the third. Let's use him in the slot. Let's use him in the RPO. Let's use him, get the ball in his hands fast, much like they did maybe 7-8 years ago with Dennis Northfleet. Yeah. They get the ball in his hands, and he's making things happen. Now he feels like a new wide receiver, if you will. And then Goodwin made some plays too. So I think Chips know how to use his players. He's putting them in good position. I think getting Bryce comfortable with this is this guy, this is this guy, this is that guy.
8 different receivers, and I'd love to know, I don't know the breakdown, but I'd love to know how many times they went 11 personnel, because that has not been something they've done in a long time, and yet they did it on a regular basis.
I've seen 3 running backs in the backfield more than I've seen 3 wide receivers over the past 4 or 5 years.
What do you think about that?
I like that. That means they understand this is how we have to evolve. You know, we're not going to have – this is how we have to evolve. We can't do the Joe Moore offensive lineman every year, have that type of style offensive lineman, and have, you know, a revolving door of Hassan Haskins and Blake Corms and Donovan Edwards. That's not how you have to win. You have to mix in the passing game. You can no longer run from what's in front of you. You have to pass the ball to have success now at the collegiate level, much like the NFL. So they're opening up the playbook. They got a quarterback that can do so, and they're opening up that, and they're trying to slowly evolve this offense.
Overall, this is what it's going to take in the Big Ten and really in the nation. If you want to be a competitive team in the playoff discussion, you better be able to make big plays. You better be able to have explosive plays, something Michigan did not do a year ago. On Saturday night, they ripped off 6 plays of 25 yards or more. Channing Goodwin had a 39-yard reception, longest passing play. Justice Hayes had a 56 and a 59-yard run. Overall, that offense, again, I understand, grain of salt, New Mexico, 452 yards, the highest since week 3 of 2023 when they gained 492 against UNLV and was led by J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah, and once again, this is not about who you were playing. You just have to play the team that's in front of you. It's New Mexico. It's about what you do against that team. It's about what you emphasize on in that game, and they emphasize on the fact we want to be a passing team. We believe we have the guy that we can trust. They trust Bryce Underwood. If you can have a guy that you trust, that's how you get the big play. That's how you get the explosive plays, because you're calling more of them because you trust the guys. So the emphasis on passing the ball down the field, it lets you know this is not what we did last year. This is not what we did 2 years ago. This is what we need to do now moving forward.
I was just going to say that, Bray, just looking at the offense as the first game, there were some offenses over the years that seemed to struggle out of the gate, and those quarterbacks that kind of left us hoping for more. With this one, I have so much more hope as it relates to Bryce Underwood, the timing routes, the arm, the accuracy, the feet, even his mobility in the pocket, just the wherewithal. I'm excited. The composure.
The composure was off the chart. There's no way. You watch that film. Let's say you don't know who he is. You watch that film, and there's no way you think that guy's 18 years old. You think he's at least has a full season under his belt.
Talk about it.
I mean, when you go into the huddle and you command that, you're up at the line of scrimmage, just the way he handled himself, without getting too wrapped up in it, the way he handled himself was really impressive.
This is how you get started the game out, and shout out to him for being a poised, true freshman. Like, he was very poised. I want to talk about another quarterback that was very poised too, and I know his grandfather. We'll get into Notre Dame later. But how the game started for Bryce Underwood. Comes out, he's getting hyped. They're playing Jeezy on the South System. DJ Ski getting the stadium going. They're playing Jeezy, comes to the huddle. He's hyped. He's up and down. And as soon as the ref gives him the nod, as soon as the ref lets him know the clock has started, it's time to play ball, he immediately, all right, cool, this is what we're going to do right here. Blah, 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 whatever the play call was, ready, break. He comes up, boom, 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 gets everybody ready. He dials in. There's a set, there's a pause, there's a hut, and then the season goes. Like, to be able to have that to where you can just snap out of it, pull out of it. It was a small moment, Shep. Mm-hmm. Super small moment, but I noticed it. I said, okay, I want to see I want to see this whole play. From the sideline to the start of the game to the first play call, I watched it like a hawk. And I'm watching, and he just snapped into quarterback one mode. He snapped into, it's time to go. that's a very important thing to be able to snap in and out of things. So I saw that, I think the rest of the game kind of followed in that. He never was too high, he never was too low. And even after the game, they asked him, how do you rate your game? And he gave himself a C+.
Right.
He gave himself a C+, like just to be
Whereas
that.
most people would be going, it's a B+, A-. That's
100%.
what most people be thinking.
Just to be that already, it lets me know that he's valuing every play. It lets me know that there's an attention to details, which means there's a trust in his coach. Like he's trusting the information that he's getting. So I like this a lot. It looked really good against New Mexico, but two things can be true.
Yeah, I just think the overall conduct in which he played, it really, it's one thing having success, it's another thing getting a win. I understand those are the most important things. But I'm talking about his demeanor. I'm talking about, like, we talked a little bit about Arch Manning, too. I don't know how good he's going to be. Nobody does. I'm not jumping off a ship because of one flipping game. It's ridiculous. Everybody's talking about Ohio State. Salem, how good was he? He was just, okay. But wins and how you perform in certain moments are really important. And that's why I was really impressed with Underwood. Not saying he's going to be the first overall pick. He's going to win a Heisman. He's going to win multiple Heisman and be the second since Archie Griffin. I'm just saying this is a guy right now you can tell understands the playbook. Yeah. Teammates really respect him based on how he handles himself. And his composure is contagious. Yeah. I believe that. I believe composure like that, whether it be a manager or a coach, without getting too high or low, I think it's really contagious. Now, it will be different in Norman this coming weekend. Only because Brent Venables is he's considered a defensive-minded guy. Now, you may not consider him doing that in Norman because they're like, up and down the field constantly, left and right, more focused on the offense. But that's his background. So I would expect, I don't know if he's going to give the same stuff that Patricia gave to, a guy like Arch Manning, but you're going to see different looks and different athletes on that side of the ball this coming weekend.
Yeah, 35-3 over Illinois State. They definitely had a good win, too, for them in a home opener. But just getting back to Bryce, the other thing that's cool about what he did, another thing that's fun, let's talk about the things that he did wrong. I saw the same thing, Catholic Central versus Belleville. He throws into double coverage and he tries to play the hero ball sometimes. He tries to play the hero ball where I can fit the ball into a window no matter what. And he did that a couple times in that game, and it could have led to an interception. It didn't, thank you, but it could have led to an interception. And we've seen that in high school, and that's something that he's got to get better at. But what I like about it is he had those moments, and then Chip Lindsey, they came right back and still called plays for him to have opportunities to come right back and have success. A lot of times with a younger quarterback, you start to see a couple plays like that where he's trying to fit balls in windows. Let's just slow it down. Let's get back to 5-yard passes here, a slant here, handing the ball off to Hayes. That's not what they did. They allowed him a chance to work through it and say, okay, this is what happened. What did you see? Let's come back and let's try to see if we can see it again. The other thing is wide receivers, and he will get on the same page because some of those plays, they weren't necessarily the quarterback's fault. Quarterback's job is to throw the ball to where the window is. Yeah, I know we love that word window here. It's to throw where the window is. If it's man coverage, you can hit him in stride because he's still running. If it's a zone, now you got to sit down, wide receiver. Sometimes the wide receivers are running past the zone, so that's why you see balls a little bit behind them because Bryce is trying to keep them where they're supposed to be. So not every pass that was bad was on Bryce Underwood.
The only thing I would say in defense of Bryce Underwood, without trying to make too many, I'm not making excuses for him, but the tight windows, the great quarterbacks do that. The quarterbacks who believe in their arms and believe in their gifts, they do that. Now, how much do they do it and have no success before they learn? I suppose it depends. But all the great quarterbacks you have ever watched and you've ever played with, who consider themselves great, they may not be, they have supreme confidence in their arms.
And I think those great quarterbacks know the difference between a tight window and 3 guys on one receiver. And that's the difference. Because there's a such thing as, you can try fitting a pass into a tight window, and if it's an interception, hell, there are really good players. And actually nowadays, Shep, they get paid on the other side of the ball. In college, they get paid, so they're going to make those plays. But sometimes it's just too many, if you will. It's too many down there.
So I want the overreaction and the encouraging moment. We will get to that when we come back on the Braylon Edwards Show. What was most encouraging and what was most troubling? Or are you overreacting? We'll get to that coming up here on the Braylon Edwards Show, Monday through Friday, 2 till 4 on Woodward Sports after this, from a guy we never overreact to. We always react just the right way because we know he does the same thing in the courtroom. His name is Ben Johnson.
Hey, as you said, he is no reacting with him. Justice, it means different things to different people, but whether it's a settlement or a verdict, justice is always worth the fight, and that's what we want you to do. We want you to fight with the fighter, and that's Vin Johnson Law. Sign up today. All you got to do is go to vinfights.com. He will get you the justice that you deserve. Tough, tenacious trial lawyers, and that's what they are. They're trial attorneys by trade. It means they want all the smoke. They mean they can take it the distance to get you paid. Take a look at your case, and then hit them up, and they'll give you all the details and all the information you need. vinfights.com.
Massage Chair House. Massage Chair House. Looking to upgrade your relaxing game? Check out Massage Chair House in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan today. Largest massage chair showroom in the Midwest. Located near the corner of Woodward and Long Lake Road. Experience luxury comfort with Dr. Eric Duncan, the Wellness Doc. Book a visit at www.massagechairhouse.com or scan that QR code on the screen. Massage Chair House, your ticket to ultimate recovery and relaxation.
Planet Fitness now has even more best-in-class strength equipment. Join today for $1 down and save.
We're stepping it up.
We're not slowing down.
Finding new faith, new focus.
Love that new equipment smell.
So, you in?
Join the club today. Save when you join for just $1 down, $15 a month. Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet.
Why do we fight? We fight to protect the innocent, to hold the powerful accountable, to bring the oppressors to justice. Why do we fight? We fight to secure and preserve our civil liberties, to get each and every one of our clients the justice they deserve, and to make the lives of real people just like you whole again. ThenFights.com.
The boys of summer are ready to get back to the playoffs, and there's no better place to get your Tigers coverage than Woodward Sports. Join us all season long as we follow as our hometown Tigers claw and fight. This ball is gone! Boys are back in town. Feel the roar with Woodward Sports.
You know how some things are so good they should be world famous, but they're not. Our house-made vinaigrette is one of those things. And the antipasto salad, we drizzle it over. Same with our hand-battered chicken tenders. Original recipe soups and pasta sauces. It's almost as if our original world-famous Detroit-style pizza is mocking them. And that's not very nice.
Every Sunday, there's only one place to get all your kneecapping, hard-hitting Detroit Lions coverage. Start your Sunday with the Lions Weekly Report with Broder and Terry Foster. Then, the Lions pregame show with Neil Rule and Sean Belizean. At kickoff, keep it locked in for all the emotions of the game with a live watch party with the heavyweights. Then, recap the game with the Lions postgame show with Anson. Game days, there's no other place to be in Woodward Sports. Live all game day. Go Lions! Big injuries, big news. Twice a week, Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon. Braylon Edwards and Shep Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like D-Mac. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Pierce, your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsandSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you. Hunting season is almost here, Detroit, and your Lions are on the prowl. Make sure you're locked into Woodward Sports for all the Dan Campbell reactions, Jared Goff touchdowns, Amon-Ra first downs, Penny pancakes, Kirby picks, Gibbs' big plays, and of course, Jack Fox's leg. Stay locked in on all your Lions coverage right here on Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports. The Tigers are the best team in baseball. Get the best coverage in Detroit right here on Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports. Every Scooble start, every green homer, and all the action can be followed on all of our social media. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. It's World Series or bust, Detroit, and we are here for the ride. Woodward Sports.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
And in fitness, where your fitness is essential. Now that the August Pass is done, it's time for you guys to get back in shape at the only gym for you. Featuring the judgment-free zone. There's no judgment here. You work out to the beat of your own drum. And then there's trainers with every membership you get. So look, you come into the membership, we got you covered. There's no judgment. You walk in, there's no judgment in the locker rooms, it's squeaky clean. Come out and get your fitness in, man. Mental health as well as mental health and physical health just as important. Come do it all at Woodward Sports and Planet Fitness.
And don't forget, anytime you're talking about Planet Fitness, you got to be watching your calories, right? Well, the Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea understands that, okay? And they want you to enjoy your weekends and not feel guilty about it. What have they done about it? They've produced a really tasty vodka iced tea that has only 100 calories and is 4.5% alcohol. It's perfect for your tailgating. Maybe you're going to Lambeau. Maybe you're with Braylon in Ann Arbor. Maybe you're in East Lansing. Whatever the case may be, if you're tailgating, if you're couch gating, whatever it is you're going to do surrounding football, this is the drink for you. It's real vodka, real iced tea, no bubbles, just a clean, crisp sip that's not going to fill you up on game day, and it won't fill you up on the golf course either. So this season, let the good times cruise with Sun Cruiser and Woodward Sports, but please drink responsibly.
And we back.
Okay, so overreactions from the weekend. This is going to happen on a regular basis, especially for those people who have an affinity for a certain team. They feel like their team is unbeatable, and some of them, if they lost, they think their team may not win another game. What's the overreaction from you this past weekend? Team, player, coach, program, whatever.
I don't have overreactions, I don't think. I didn't have an overreaction. I had one I considered could be an overreaction. I don't think I had an overreaction to the weekend. I was trying to think. Everything was...
there's people who think LSU is now going to win a national championship.
But that's why I said that's an overreaction, not by myself. That's an overreaction. I think LSU played a team in Clemson that didn't play good that night.
Yeah.
I don't think anything LSU did was over the top special. I don't think you look at the score. They scored in the second and third quarter for the most part. It was not a great game, and it was not something that should make you think that now Brian Kelly is going to become the next LSU head coach to win a national championship. So if you want to call that overreaction, hell yes.
Yeah.
100% overreaction on LSU.
Here's another overreaction, at least mine. And not that this kid didn't perform well, but everybody thinks that Carson Beck now has these great wide receivers, and Carson Beck is going to lead Miami to the promised land. He may. I was impressed with Miami. Matter of fact, I was at Arts Beats and Eats over the weekend in Royal Oak.
Monday.
And I saw a guy in a Miami jersey, and I went up to him and I said, "Hey, your team got a big win." He says, "Oh, man, we needed that." And I thought to myself, the smart ass in me, you didn't necessarily need it, but it's nice to have it. It was an impressive win. Miami looked really good against Notre Dame, but I think it's an overreaction to think that Carson Beck has suddenly redeemed himself and made the right choice, and 200 yards and 2 touchdowns means that he suddenly is the quarterback everybody thought he might be while in Athens. That's a bit of an overreaction right now.
It's a bit of overreaction. It is a good win, though. I think Notre Dame is going to be a better team. They got to find a way to run the ball with the Heisman Trophy hopeful, man. They just did not feature him at all in Jordan. So Love. We'll figure that out. That's what they need to do. It was a good win for Miami, but yeah, Bet's not going to win the Heisman, at least not now. One thing I did notice, Shep, a lot of these systems that have success, or these coaches that keep their quarterback to a cue that they like, 30-31 is the number. C.J. Carr, 19 for 30. Beck, 21 for 30. Bryce Underwood, 21 for 31. It was the 30 seemed to be the sweet spot this past Saturday. But what about the overreaction in Bill Belichick and UNC?
Yeah, I thought it was an overreaction with the buildup. I understand the buildup. Okay, we're talking about one of the greatest coaches in any sport of all time. I thought it was very interesting prior to the game when the sideline reporter for ESPN, Holly Rowe, said to the day is when you made your head coaching debut in the NFL, and now you're making your head coaching debut in college football. I thought that was pretty interesting. Later followed by one of the worst questions ever about the hoodie, like she's brand new to the hoodie regime and Bill Belichick. But I don't think anybody expected them to win the ACC. At least I didn't.
Yeah.
TCU was better. Part of the hype, and you could use Arch Manning as part of this too, he didn't create the hype. Arch Manning didn't create the hype. His family didn't create the hype. We, the media, not you and I, but we, the media, are the ones that created the hype because of the last name, okay? And the same thing with Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick is exciting, as this desk.
Yeah.
He doesn't do or say much, but the hype is there because of his past accomplishments. It's all about expectations going in. The hype was out of control. I mean, if you happen to watch the pregame show, how about all the guys who just said, well, he's my friend, so I'm going to take Bill Belichick. Desmond Howard's the only one who actually thought logically, didn't think with his heart, and said, TCU's better, so I'm going to take TCU.
Shocking a Michigan man, will be honest. I disagree, though. I disagree from this standpoint. Yeah, we, the media, created the hype about the Mannings, but no, they put their son, they put their nephew in all the camps. They put him in all the primetime spaces. They put him in all the training to get this 5-star ranking and do all the recruiting trips, so we all have privy to Arch Manning and what could be and things of that nature. This is just what comes with the territory. Same thing with Bill Belichick. You chose to take the job at UNC. You knew what was going to come with it. You knew your history, your resume, as long as it is, was going to follow you, and this is what we're going to put on you. Bill Belichick should be able to come up with a game plan to stunt their quarterback.
If he has the talent, but he's the one who collected the talent, right? 70 new players, yeah.
Yeah, so no, just saying it in that way. Like with the Manning, it's going to be hype. Like, and Eli handled the hype, and Peyton handled the hype. It comes with the territory. It started with Peyton because he was Archie's son.
Yeah, I don't think taking a kid to a camp means you're hyping him up. Who wouldn't go to that camp?
Yeah.
Who wouldn't go to your father's track camp back in the day?
True.
Is that hype? I don't think so. That's taking advantage of knowledgeable people who are expected to help you get to where you eventually want to go.
This is true, but it comes with the territory. And you as two quarterbacks that understand the territory, if your nephew couldn't handle this pressure, then you shouldn't put him in a position. And Cooper, the father, let me start there, then you shouldn't put him in position to take this criticism. Because you knew bearing that last name, you knew it was going to come with it.
Yeah.
You going to Texas, let us know you're ready for it.
Yeah, I don't. There's no doubt about that. I mean, when you have that last name, look, it's not much different than LeBron James and his last name. Okay, was there hype around his son? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
There was hype.
And
did he create it? Did his son create it, or was that the media creating? I suppose it's splitting hairs. Who gives a rat's tail if they're creating it? The bottom line is high expectations of people who have that last name and choose to follow the same footsteps of the people who are more famous before them.
I think another overreaction, too, is Ohio State is the juggernaut dominant team because of what they did to Arch Manning and that Texas team. Don't let Steve Sarkisian fool you that this was a bigger win for Ohio State than it was. Look, it was a good win. It was a Texas team who you've now beaten twice, kind of like we did last year at Alabama. But that Ohio State offense left much to be desired. It left a lot to be desired. Jeremiah Smith, I'm not worried about that. He dropped 2 passes with his. He was pressing. I saw him on that first down. He was wide. He was butt naked wide open, as they used to say. He was wide open. He wanted the ball. I get it. You know, he'll make some catches and make some plays. But that offense didn't look special. And that defense, it's a really good defense playing against an offense with a quarterback that just wasn't it that day. So I don't want people to look at this win against Texas and, oh, it's Ohio State. They beat Texas. Hell yeah, Ohio State's back. Ohio State look good. Let's pipe down.
Texas defense pretty good too, though, right? I mean,
Yeah,
I thought their defense was pretty good. And you're right about
They're
Smith.
good, yeah.
Look, if they lose that game, are you talking about Smith and the 2 drops? Probably not. Or probably are, excuse me. But because they won, perhaps people just go, oh, I'm not worried about it because he's the best at his position. Why does he get the benefit of the doubt and not many others do? Because of what he did a year ago.
Because of what he did. You already know what he can do. His track record is already out there.
Yeah.
And I look at Ryan Day. I think he got lucky this past Saturday. I think he was able to realize, I don't want to expose my quarterback because this team really is not like that on offense. We're not going to have to worry about scoring 40 points to beat this team. He shut it down in the second half, as he should have, as I would have if I was Ryan Day. He shut it down, played to a horrible offense.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Personally, I wouldn't shut it down. It was too close for me to shut it down. Against a really good team at home, no way would I shut it down. Yeah, it's Ryan Day. Little different story. All right, let's shift back gears to the NFL and the Lions. And speaking of overhyped, not that he is, but Micah Parsons is hyped up and for good reason, and people are as well. Suddenly, he may need a shot in his back. Yeah. And Dr. Pierce was on earlier today, gave a great explanation about the possibilities of how you're going to deal with Micah Parsons. But the in thing today, building up to the first week of the season, seems to be, and I don't want to use the word disrespect because it's overblown, but seems to be shading toward teams other than the Lions in the division, specifically Green Bay and, believe it or not, Chicago, okay? NFL Network has a really good morning show, and I think it's entertaining at times. But listen to what Kyle Brand, listen to what he said this morning about the NFC North. Kool-Aid, give it a go.
NFC North, such a good division. With so much change and so much unproven, you have to go with what is solid and established. No, you don't. Bear down! Bear down! Ben Johnson is going to work. Caleb is going to work. It's all going to work. It is a knife fight in the NFC North, and I believe that the Chicago Bears, the pride and joy of Illinois, will win the NFC North in 2025. Believe it. Own it. This is real. This is happening. Bam! Wild card.
Oh, man, Kyle.
Wild card.
Oh, man.
Sick. All right, hold on.
Love it.
Trash.
They love it.
Yeah.
So how do you view that?
That's easy. At the end of the day, he's the same guy that said this about Detroit 3 years ago. He was one of the first guys on the wave and saying that Detroit would take that leap. And was it the end of 2021, 3-13-1. He was one of those guys, like, once they got the 0-6 that said, stay the course, I like Dan Campbell, and then
order jerseys.
100% order your jerseys. So he went on this, and what happened? You get more traction, you get more following because people know you're ahead of the curve, or people assume or presume that you're ahead of the curve. And so I think that's what this is. Detroit Lions, they lose 2 coordinators, they lose some coaches, they lose some players, one Hall of Famer, potentially caliber type of player. It's an easy thing to say, oh, you know what? Let's take it to Chicago, Ben Johnson, because now if it works, now if it hits, if somehow Chicago comes out and they go 11-6 and they make the finals and they challenge and blah, blah, blah. Now you go back and you say, you know who said this? Kyle Brandt said this. Now he was talking about this back, and that's what they do now. When there's a little bit of a room, these analysts, they jump to the next thing because if they hit, they have the pleasure of saying.
What if they don't?
It doesn't matter because nobody, you know what I mean? Many times we miss how much stuff we say and we're wrong about that people either forget about or only bring back in certain moments. I don't think it matters if you miss in this day and age once you get on that point, on that type of platform.
It's the outlandish take is what it is.
100%.
He's not the only one. We'll play somebody a little bit later on in the show who's very similar. I want the reasoning more than anything else. It's great to put all the helmets there. It's great to go play up for the camera, grab the helmet, start talking about Ben Johnson and talk about Chicago.
Is that it?
That is it.
The genius offensive coordinator too. We've gotten to a point in our society where if it's a guy that has any success as an offensive coordinator when he gets the head coaching job, that's it. There it goes. He's the next Kevin O'Connell. He's the next Sean McVay. He's the next Kyle Shanahan. He's the next Kyle Stefanski.
I'm gonna keep
Kevin
saying
Stefanski.
it. They can't wait. They just want something to prove that Dan Campbell is not the guy that we think he is.
I don't think that's the case at all.
They just from press conference one, it's been this way.
They don't have an axe to grind against Dan Campbell. It's
but,
not.
But
personal.
I don't think he gets the credit that he deserves, and I think it's easy for them to do that.
I don't disagree with you, but that doesn't happen in this town. We're mad at Kyle Brandt and the nation, and actually Braylon just brought up a great example. 3 years ago, he actually was giving him credit. We don't give Dan Campbell credit in this town as much as he deserves. It was about Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn.
Oh, I definitely put on the cape for Dan Campbell.
This network is
I'm not talking about this network. I'm talking about in general, okay? In general, that has been the case.
Yeah.
It's about Amon-Ra St. Brown, Penei Sewell, Jameer Gibbs,
You're
Jameson.
right.
Okay.
Ben Johnson, the wizard, and all that. I get it.
Ben Johnson's a wizard. Aaron Glenn, look what he's doing with what not much to work with. I don't think they have an axe to grind against Dan Campbell.
Okay, let me ask you another question, and this is fair. Dan Campbell doesn't get the credit. They try to find a way to place it on other coaches.
Universally.
All right, fine. What coach does get the credit? Like, what coach around
Sean
the
McVay.
league? He's won a Super Bowl.
I think even before the Super Bowl, though.
Well, he was the boy genius. He was the boy wonder.
Well,
Dan,
that's part of it.
Okay.
Kevin O'Connell.
Right. Boy genius came from Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay.
Still looking up to Campbell.
I'm going somewhere with this.
Okay, and just so we're all clear, and I'm contradicting myself, and then you can get back to your point. Dan Campbell did finish second in Coach of the Year last year. So let's be careful on how much he gets quote unquote disrespected, but it is something that we've talked about on the show. Go ahead. What else?
Yeah, at the end of the day, like if you're not a Super Bowl head coach, then you got to be a guy that's one of these offensive gurus that came from or knows or has been around. Like those are the guys that they want to succeed. Those are the guys they're lobbying for. They're not lobbying for the Dan Campbells. They're not lobbying for the Dan Quinns. They're not lobbying for DeMeco Ryans, if you will. Mm-hmm. They're lobbying for, here's Kevin O'Connell. Here's the new shiny piece that came from Sean McVay, and he was the offensive coordinator when they won the Super Bowl. And then he comes there and he does have success. So these are the guys that they're lobbying. I think these are the guys that they're championing is these offensive gurus that you've seen kind of make good in the last 10 years.
You're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right. They look at those guys like they're playing chess.
Yeah.
Whereas Dan Campbell is a guy, instead of even sitting
he's
down
a
at
field
the table.
guy.
Right.
He's not an analytics guy. He's a field guy. And field doesn't work.
Yeah.
I beg to differ.
Yeah. So the Chicago thing is fine. I'm not butthurt over the fact that somebody chose a team other than the Lions. It happens.
Yeah.
I want to know why. That's all. That's all I ask for. From an analyst, tell me why. You do a really good job of explaining whether it's Braylon breakdown or some of the things that Bryce Underwood we talked about. Give me the reason why Chicago and not Detroit or even Green Bay. Because Chicago, I mean, if you wanted to make the case.
It's an interesting one.
Said, look, they're really good defensively. And they are. If you want to say they improved their offensive line, they did. Their skill possessions are good. They are. Caleb Williams, huge question mark. Don't know what he's going to get. 68 sacks a year ago. Lost more yards than any other quarterback in the league. However, how much is on him? How much is in the offensive line? That's something that we're not privy to. Maybe Ben Johnson knows. Hell, maybe even Matt Eberflus knows. I don't know. But I can't figure out for the life of me why people think that Chicago suddenly goes from 5 wins to about 12, which is probably what it'll take to win the division, 11 or 12, and leapfrogs not 1, not 2, but 3 teams in the division.
Is DeAndre Swift still the running back?
He is.
I rest my case. I rest my case. No, realistically, I think it's the fact that he didn't choose Green Bay or Minnesota or Detroit is very interesting. I think it's a mixture of the factors that you named. He now has, speaking of Caleb Williams now has somebody that can protect, if you will, so he'll have time. He's been running around like a chicken with his head cut off since his last 2 seasons at SE, really. Mm-hmm. So now he has somebody that can protect for him. He has wide receivers. He has weapons he can get the ball to. I guess he's got service for running back. And he's got 2 tight ends. He's got Kmet as well as Colston Loveland. So he has the weapons. And the defense is good. So
if you think about it, there's no excuse for them not to be better than they were a year ago. Honestly.
Yeah.
Like if you're Minnesota, you're just a fan or a talk show host, you're saying to yourself, maybe J.J. McCarthy's not it. He was named captain, so players have to believe in him. But Kirk Cousins was captain a year ago in Atlanta. That doesn't really matter. But the point is, just maybe he's unproven, right? Can they do it again? Can Kevin O'Connell do what he did with Sam Darnold and do it with J.J. McCarthy? They're better, right? The Packers, how much can you really expect out of a rookie wide receiver coming in, even if you like Jaden Reed? Is Jordan Love the real deal? This guy's completed 63.5% of his passes in his career. I don't know how you overlook the Lions and their talent. And I'm not trying to be a homer here. I'm not trying to be Kool-Aid. Yeah. I want to know, I honestly want to know, what is it about the Lions that makes people pause?
Middle linebacker, right end, offensive line swap this year. You no longer have Frank Ragnow. You no longer have Kevin Zeitler. You're trying to figure out if Christian Mahogany can be the piece to replace Graham Glasgow, who is now going to play center, who he told you his favorite position is right guard, where now you have Tate Rowledge, who is a rookie. It's going to be a damn good rookie, but a rookie nonetheless. You drafted in your first round last year or this past season, you drafted a guy that wasn't necessarily highly on people's boards as it related to an interior defensive line, talking about Talik Williams. You add all that to, well, this guy's no longer here, this guy's no longer here, this coach, that coach, this coach, that coach, and it just leads you to all these questions. And if you're not in town, if you've not necessarily been dialed into the Detroit Lions, it's easy to say, that's a lot.
Yeah. Because every team loses coaches. Every team loses
100%.
coaches.
Like 100%. True. The only thing I can compare it to is the Philadelphia Eagles, and we saw how that looked when they left. So I don't want to compare it to that. It's not going to be that, but
how come no one's saying that about the Eagles when Kellen Moore left to be the head coach in New Orleans? Because they won a Super Bowl, they have established players, they don't have a lot of turnover, right? And turnover's real. I get it, but that's your explanation right there. Is what you want from national experts. The reason why. I always ask any analyst I've ever worked with, tell me why. Tell the audience why. Why is it you don't believe in the Lions? I'm not saying you have to. I'm not saying I'm offended if you don't, and I'm not calling you an idiot either. I just want to know why. What do you see in Chicago that makes you think, yep, it's their time, they're on the trampoline, they're jumping over Detroit, and the Lions are going down into the wine cellar to get drunk?
Well, maybe these analysts truly don't trust your starting quarterback. And maybe that's what it all goes back to. Because we may have gotten over Jared Goff and his shortcomings, if he had any, as a quarterback, as a player. We did. He became our $53 million guy. He became our guy that it was elite. He became our guy that is in MVP talks for a little bit. And he became the guy that's been the most efficient quarterback of the last 3 years. But then all those things that you believed in around him are starting to change. And now it goes back to, do I trust 16? Like, do I trust Jared Goff? I think from the outside world, they don't. Because as he was making this rise to, Jared Goff has actually turned the tide. You see what he did in 2022 and 2023, and oh man, and here's 2024. He's playing lights out, 5 turnovers at home against the Washington Commanders is the last thing they saw of Jared Goff. And then you tell them that the guy that helped, the outside world will tell you it's because of Ben Johnson that Jared Goff. They give him all the credit. Right. So you mean to tell me the guy that got Jared to here, to where we believed him again, is now gone, and then we saw his last game? I think that has a lot to do with it.
What was the lasting impression we had of Caleb Williams? Beating a second-team on the very last. What about the losing streak in the middle of all that? Oh, he was running for his life. 68 sacks. Okay. How much of that was on him and how much was on the offensive line? Question I can't answer right now. What's the lasting impression of Jordan Love?
Ooh.
Besides a 63.5% completion percentage in his career. What is it? Right?
Inconsistent.
3 games above 500. It's always confused me. We'll take certain statistics that we think are vital for quarterbacks. You go Pro Football Reference, there's only one position player that gets the wins and losses next to their name. All right?
QB1.
And it's QB, it's really QBs in general. They get the wins and losses. Look at Jared Goff's wins and losses in his career and with the Lions. You may say that's not enough for you. Okay, look at his completion percentage. Look at his touchdown to interception ratio. Look at how many yards he's throwing for on a regular basis. Look at his turnovers compared to others. I get it. Some of it's timing. I don't understand how people have jumped off that bandwagon so quickly because of the very last game of a year ago and forgotten the 15 regular season wins.
That's typically how bandwagon people operate. Yeah. That's typically how they operate.
I wanted to say something, too, because when you look at these other teams in the NFC North, I feel like people just give those coaches a pass. I think everybody, like Braylon said, is ready to crown KOC as that deal. You've seen what they've been doing with the Packers, and now you got Ben Johnson, who apparently people are ready to have him lap up, pass by Dan Campbell too.
Dude,
it's just like that's what I mean by it.
Grab a bib and a ladle. It is one big Ben Johnson bowl of soup.
That's what I mean. I don't think that people are overtly saying let's trash Dan Campbell, but I don't think they understand how backhanded it is when you can just go and take an assistant, a lifelong assistant, and just elevate him above effectively a Dan Campbell and say, this guy and this unproven quarterback, these are the ones that are going to lead the Bears to not just a few more wins, but the division title, and that not just that they're going to squeak it past the Lions, they think that the Lions are done. That's the part to me where I'm like, you know what? No, this to me is where you don't believe our head coach has any plan. You don't believe our head coach has a pulse over his
our general
team.
manager who's been two-time executive of the year.
Thank you, dog.
100%.
Goodness gracious.
Now, the only thing I would argue is this. With Kevin O'Connell, if I told you, fill in the blank, use Dan Campbell. He took a guy who traditionally was horrible, Sam Darnold, made him into at one point, the fringe of an MVP conversation, gave him a career year, won 14 games. You would definitely give him a nod in saying he's one of the better coaches in the National Football League.
Definitely.
Okay? So I try to look at both sides. But speaking of that and speaking of quarterbacks, I'm glad Braylon brought it up because that's exactly what it is. When we come back, wait till you hear what a national host had to say about the QBs in the division. It's going to blow your mind, or maybe not, after that recent discussion. First, it'll blow your mind the deals that Les Stanford, Buick, and GMC has for everybody out there. Get a 2025 Hummer EV SUT lease special, $599 a month plus tax. A 2025 Hummer EV SUT, $699 a month. And that good-looking truck right there, the 2025 Sierra.
That has your name on it, Shep.
Oh, man. I'll tell you what, if that burgundy with brown with tan interior or tobacco interior, I would be all over that. You'd be all over it if it were pink. If it's just $169 a month plus tax, that's what you get at Les Stanford. Check out their massive inventory. Les Stanford, Buick, and GMC for all their lease specials. Go to their website, lesstanford.com.
Looking for a sparkling clean ride? Well, that's what you need to do. You need to come up to Jack's Car Wash. And now, partnering with Woodward Sports, you can get a free car wash. Text 888-522-1729 to Jack's Car Wash and get yourself a free car wash. Free vacuums, free compressed air, free mat cleaning rooms. Look, they have it all. Jack's is the place for you. I went to Jack's on Friday, got myself a nice detail. So when I went up to Ann Arbor on Saturday, truck was looking nice and clean, man. I did that at Jack's. And also, take advantage of the unlimited plan. I tell you this all the time. Take advantage of the unlimited plan. Car washes are all year round, folks. So you better get one.
You smell that? That's Brad Holmes cooking. And the off-season smells good. Woodward Sports. Every Sunday, there's only one place to get all your kneecapping, hard-hitting Detroit Lions coverage. Start your Sunday with the Lions Weekly Report with Broder and Terry Foster. Then, the Lions pregame show with Neil Rule and Sean Belizean. At kickoff, keep it locked in for all the emotions of the game with a live watch party with the heavyweights. Then, recap the game with the Lions postgame show with Anson. Game days, there's no other place to be in Woodward Sports. Live all game day. Go Lions.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
Planet Fitness now has even more best-in-class strength equipment. Join today for $1 down and save.
We're stepping it up.
We're not slowing down.
Finding new faith, new focus.
Love that new equipment smell.
So, you in?
Join the club today. Save when you join for just $1 down, $15 a month. Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet.
Ever wonder what goes on inside the game?
Deep ball's got a man and got him. Touchdown, Braylon Edwards.
Join Braylon Edwards and Shep.
Edwards has it. 10, 5, touchdown.
On the Braylon Edwards Show with Shep.
Ball looks in zone. Got Edwards for the touchdown.
Where they dive deep into the heart of sports. Weekdays from 2 to 4 p.m., they're bringing you expert analysis, exclusive interviews, and a fresh perspective on the sports you love. Don't miss it, only on the Woodward Sports Network.
Your injury insider is Dr. Jeff Pierce. All you got to do is scan this QR code above my head and get the diagnosis you need. Look, he's not just for athletes like myself or Dan McCarty or your high schooler or your actually, he can get them together too. But he's also for the common man. All you got to do is go there, get it diagnosed. A little pain in your shoulder, a little pain in your back, a little pain in your abdominal, wherever it is. He is the injury insider for a reason. He's been doing this for years, ladies and gentlemen. Those Stanley Cups, guess what? He was one of those doctors on the staff making sure the Wings, they had everything they needed to beat those teams. This is what you're going to do. You're going to call 248-426-9944 and get an appointment now. Use the guy we use, we love, Dr. Jeff Pierce.
He's a friend, right?
He's a friend. Yeah, he's a friend first.
Yeah.
He just happens to be great medicine.
Yeah, he's a good dude. We've got some new friends, too, and we're really excited about the partnership with Sharon's Heating and Air Conditioning. Yeah. Proudly serving Metro Detroit. They've been doing it for over 40 years with great success, reliable, and treating customers like family. Braylon was just talking about it. Dr. Pierce does the same thing. That's what Sharon's Heating and Air Conditioning does as well. You are like family. They offer all of it. You need it, they've got it. Heating, cooling, indoor air quality, water heaters, whole home generators, and memberships. Right now, DTE gas customers get a free, that's right, I said free, furnace tune-up through December 1st. So I know your ears peaked a little bit. As soon as I say free, that grabs your attention. Well, Sharon's Heating and Air Conditioning should grab your attention too, because they are everything you would hope for in quality service. Call them today, 734-238-3839. That's 734-238-3839. Or you can scan the QR code now above my head right there on your screen right now and tell them Woodward Sports and the Braylon Edwards Show sent you.
And we bet.
Okay, I'm glad just before the break, Braylon brought up the quarterbacks, and I'm glad he did. Doesn't surprise me that he brought them up because it's right in cue with what I think you are thinking about too, and that is we gear up for Lions and Packers at Lambeau this coming Sunday. It's going to be special. Dan Campbell admitted it. Braylon's been there. I've been there. It's an awesome scene. But the quarterbacks in this division, just like many divisions, oftentimes will help lead their teams, right? Yeah. I mean, it is the most important position in sports, you could argue, right?
Yeah.
Okay. A CBS Sports Network commentator said this about the NFC North quarterback situation. Listen to this. But please make sure your mouth is clean because you might throw up in your mouth after you hear it. Go ahead.
You're thinking about within this division, you have two quarterbacks that have some question marks. You have Jared Goff, and you question whether or not he can handle pressure. You have J.J. McCarthy, who is the unknown. We don't know what he can do because he didn't play a lot last year, if at all. And so now that's the biggest key. So now you're just working with Chicago. And Chicago on paper looks tremendous. So I do feel like they'll win that division. The Chicago Bears, I feel like. Green Bay, to me, went from my third pick to now second in that division and perhaps making the playoffs. I know. I'm sorry, but that's them the breaks.
Interesting. Yeah, we'll see when Week 18 comes what that actually looks like. I
mean, how about this? How in the world
interesting
do you think, if there are question marks in this division, that Jared Goff is one of the question marks? Like, every quarterback, probably outside Patrick Mahomes, has a question mark.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm taking that too far, but I think every quarterback has a question mark. You're going to look at this division of 4 teams with J.J. McCarthy, Caleb Williams, Jordan Love, and Jared Goff, and you're going to bring up Jared Goff and his uncertainty under pressure, which a lot of quarterbacks aren't very good under pressure. Where am I wrong here?
Top 5 MVP from last year, guy? That Jared Goff? That's crazy, man.
Okay.
I don't understand where this stuff comes from. It seems like some of the things that I believe in the most that make me some of the most confident for this Lions season in Dan Campbell and Jared Goff and this offense, it seems like not too many people are as bullish about it. And I don't know how, when you look at the amount of like all pros and, in my opinion, Pro Bowl caliber players on that offensive side of the ball, I believe Jared Goff is not going to really have too many bumps in the road this year. And I believe that it's if people are basing their NFC North predictions on Jared Goff falling off the map, I'm telling you guys, just hand that money on over to me. It'll be basically the same thing. You won't be getting it back. Just to let you know.
Yeah, I try to stay out of these things because I mean, there is space for some of the comments. I mean,
talk to me, man. I saw your face doing it. I was like, Bray about to let me know.
No, it's not that, but it's like Jared Goff. Like, I'm listening to people talk about him on the outside. I'm listening to the things that they're talking about and talk about the big moment, the big game. What happens if the Lions don't get home field advantage? Because you're looking at it right now, Jared Goff had a lot of success 2 years ago when he had the home field advantage against the Rams and the Buccaneers. Didn't win on the road. Last year he had home field advantage. Didn't much matter for the performance. What's it going to look like when Jared Goff goes to Philly? You know? What's it going to look like in the playoffs if the Lions don't get home field advantage and they're going to Philly or Green Bay or Los Angeles or Washington or wherever the hell else in the NFC? What's it going to look like? Because Jared Goff has had a lot of success here in Detroit. He hasn't had it on the road necessarily. Hasn't had it necessarily in the biggest games.
Well, they were undefeated on the road last year.
I'm talking about big games. I'm talking about on the road against Philly. I'm talking about on the road against Buffalo. I'm talking about on the road against the Chiefs, which they did in 23, which they were able to do that. I think that's what people were talking about. So in a room, I can see that.
Yeah, I don't think that he's flawless by any stretch.
Right.
No,
and I'm not suggesting
no one's flawless.
That the Lions have it in the bag.
Yeah.
My question to him would be, of all the positions in this division, I'm strictly using this division, you're going to use the one guy who's had the most success, whether it be based on numbers or wins, than the other 3 guys, and you're saying this guy is a legitimate question mark. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I just don't understand it. We can question some of his decisions and some of his games, but overall, does 15-2 not mean anything to anybody? Does second in the league in yards mean anything to anybody? Does 37 TDs mean anything to anybody? And does being top 5, 5th in MVP discussion mean anything?
What hurts Jared Goff is Sam Darnold essentially did the same thing last year. He went 14-3.
Right.
He lost one more game to Jared Goff. Fine. He went 14-3, and he got kicked out of his own team.
Yeah.
He got removed from Minnesota, said thank you for your services. Seattle, here's Sam Darnold. That doesn't help the conversation.
I do believe that Jared Goff helped, though, elevate the Detroit Lions above a lot of loss last year. And I think that has to be weighed, too. When we talk about MVPs and a quarterback, and this is where it does get dicey when you look at that playoff game,
right?
Because it cuts the argument from the regular season off right at the knees.
Yeah. Other 2 guys weren't in a playoff game, by the way. J.J. McCarthy went in a playoff game. Caleb Williams went in a playoff game.
Bingo.
How'd Jordan Love do?
Yeah. No, and I get it. And that's why I wasn't arguing against those guys.
Yeah.
That was more so the conversation as a whole. Because you mentioned Jared Goff on the road. Fine, let's take it to Jared Goff on the road last year. Didn't he throw 5 interceptions against the Texans?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then turned around and threw 4 against the Commanders. And like that's 2 4+ in the same season.
Yep.
He threw 3 against Tampa.
So I'm just saying, like, for everyone who loves Jared Goff, there's also conversations about Jared Goff that you can have without getting upset, without getting mad. Now, you want to get mad about this person nitpicking Jared Goff when you have the other 3 quarterbacks, that I agree with. But if you want to have a conversation about Jared Goff in terms of other things, I don't get too mad.
Yeah, I'm not suggesting he's better than the elite quarterbacks we've already talked about, whether it be Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson or whomever you want to fit in there, Joe Burrow. Okay?
No.
I'm not saying that. Although
Hurts?
I like Jalen Hurts, a fantasy football quarterback. But it's interesting how it's about winning oftentimes. And then when it's not about winning, or when it is, even when we get past the winning because the guy wins, we'll try to nitpick that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, he did do this. Oh, okay. How about any of the other guys who did do that too? Okay. Like, are we going to say that about Joe Burrow when they start 0-3? No, because Joe Burrow, how was it his fault? Well, guess what? There's an incompletion here. There's an interception there. It happens, right? And again, I take Joe Burrow over Jared Goff. All I'm saying is when you're looking at this division and you're bringing up question marks and you're going to use the team that won 15-2 and won 12 games the year before, has back-to-back division wins, and yes, disappointing against Washington, but had a couple of playoff wins the year before.
Yeah, he was nearly flawless
Super Bowl,
too. Yeah.
You're going to use that as your number one bullet? To me, makes no sense.
They did the same thing with Josh Allen for years. Last year is the first year that Josh Allen really remained unscathed. Like last year is the first year where he finished the season, didn't make it to the Super Bowl, or didn't make it to the AFC. He made the AFC Championship because it was at home. They lost at home. Yeah. But it was the first year where he didn't make it to the big dance, and it wasn't he can't beat. It was at home, and Josh this, and Josh is going to be the reason. But the seasons leading up to last year, every year, what did they say about Josh Allen? Because they won 12 games. Yeah. They won 13 games. They got the AFC Championship. Right.
Yeah.
But then it got to a point it was like, all right, is Josh Allen going to – is Sean McDermott going to, is it gonna be the year? Is this the year that he stops playing hero ball? Is this the year that Josh Allen starts putting himself in a better position in terms of, you're mature now, you understand the game, stop doing the dumb stuff. Like, those were things that was his thing. It wasn't throwing an interception. The football. Yeah. Exactly. Right. And last year was the very first time that I hadn't heard it. Like,
I'm not saying.
Or this season, excuse me.
Yeah, this season. I'm not saying that there's no reason to criticize Jared Goff. Absolutely there is. And I'm not saying he's the perfect QB. I find it odd that a commentator would use the difference between teams in this division. The biggest question mark for this team is their quarterback. To me, that makes no sense. That's all. And if that's the reason you're going to take Chicago, as Kool-Aid said, go ahead, put your money on the table, and you can give it to him. Chicago's not beating Detroit in this division.
What would be Detroit's biggest question mark? Or what would be this division's question mark? Obviously, I think it's true for Caleb Williams. I think it's the quarterback position, and for the Minnesota Vikings, because they have a team that's loaded. Can JJ be JJ, or what they expect him to be with the C on his chest? What would it be for the Lions and the Packers for you?
I think for Detroit, are they going to be able to run the ball as effectively as they were a year ago? Okay. Because of basically three new offensive linemen. Yeah. I think that's good. I think they'll be able to figure out schemes. You could speak to this a hell of a lot better than I could. They could figure out schemes on how to get the ball quickly out of Jared Goff's hands and maybe not stand him back there like a statue. But are they going to be able to have the same type of rushing balance that they had a year ago, where the play action pass works and everything else like that? I think Detroit's defense is going to be so much better than people give it credit for. Now, they're not fully healthy yet, and we'll play something coming up here with Dan Campbell and what he had to say about Marcus Davenport, which oftentimes makes people flinch for a minute and have Tourette's.
Is he?
Yeah.
Did he get – I can't even say it out loud.
I know. But Terrion Arnold and DJ Reed and that secondary, I'm in love with. I think they're fantastic.
Absolutely.
I believe in their linebackers. I believe in Aiden Hutchinson. When Aleem McNeil's back, I think it's going to be a huge plus. But I do believe that the defense is going to be better than people give it credit for. I'm convinced of that.
Well, they're my defense on fantasy football. Speaking of fantasy, they are my defense. I believe in them. I definitely agree. You had some great topics earlier, and one of them was most improved players, and you brought one of mine up, and I just give it to you now that Terrion Arnold. I think Terrion Arnold's gonna be much improved this year. And you watch that clip that we broke down of him and J-Mo. I know it's one clip. I know there's many reps that they took in practice I didn't get a chance to see. But in that clip, it told me that he's paying attention, because everything that he was doing wrong in those first 4 games, in that one play, you saw it all, and nothing was what it was last year. In that one play, I think he's going to be extremely. I think he's going to take a big jump in the right direction.
I think so too. And Kelvin Shepard has come out and said the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't think this is a coaching staff that just throws flowers for the sake of throwing flowers. No. I think certain guys have turned certain heads. Like, I would ask you this: who do you think is going to take that next big step? You and I both believe in Terrion Arnold. Can you give me another name, another guy you think will take that next step? Jamison Williams, for me, took it a year ago. Braylon, I'm telling you, I it's not that I gave up on him. I just wasn't as high on him. The lack of maturity, he blew my mind last year, how much the kid grew from one year to the next. So really, I'm sure a lot of people are really proud of him, and rightfully so. Yeah. He took that next step. Who's the guy going to take the next step this year?
I think he's going to take another step above that one.
Wow.
But to your point, last year was the breakout year. You saw 1,000 yards. You saw the consistency. And you saw them go to him in some big moments. That let you know he took that step. I think it's going to be Christian Mahogany. I'm going to offensive lineman. I think it's going to be Christian Mahogany. I think we're hearing a lot about Glasgow. We're hearing a lot about Tate Rowledge. We're hearing a lot about who's no longer here. But what we're not hearing about is Christian Mahogany. That's because he's doing his job.
You're right.
There's a reason why they put him at left guard. There's a reason why he's playing left guard. We broke down the left guard position, how vital a left guard is to the running game and to a right-handed quarterback. Chris Mahogany's in that position. Not Graham Glasgow. Not Tate Rowledge, the guy that they drafted in the second round that they are high on. Dan Campbell, all the defensive linemen. They have not been talking about Christian Mahogany because he is doing his effing job. And that is scary if you are teams that they got to play against. So I'm excited. I think he is the step that they take because they still have my former teammate and line coach, Hank Fraley, who knows what he's doing. He didn't go anywhere. So the thing that has made the Detroit Lions the thing for the last 5 years is the offensive line. The offensive line is what's got them this momentum. That guy's still here, and that guy's been working with each and every one of them. And I think Christian Mahogany, he's next up for the guys playing left guard that are going to the Pro Bowl.
That's well done, man.
I believe he will take that jump this year.
Right. Is that another Lions coach that was your former coach or teammate?
100%.
Well, you basically on the staff right now,
the whole
bro.
staff. Hank Fraley. It's funny because Rex Ryan's son was on the staff last year, and obviously Rex is my coach. So there's a lot of connection to this team, but Hank Fraley, he understands this job. Whoever goes on this field for the Detroit Lions online, they will be prepared. And I don't think anybody is going to take a jump on that line like Christian Mahogany. Give me C.
I love that. He's not going to give his endorsement of a guy if it's not real, is what you're saying.
100%.
Speaking of fathers and sons, Bill Belichick, Steve Belichick. Not a great night last night. Really good segment coming up, though. The player the Lions team needs, but we're not sure what we have. We'll explain when we come back on the Braylon Edwards Show after this brief timeout and a word from BlackRock, who will make you hungry but appreciate a really good restaurant.
Looking for dinner plans that sizzle? But look no further. Come on down to BlackRock because BlackRock has it for you. Talking about the 755-degree BlackRock stone, the volcanic stone that you can cook your steak on. It is legit. But I got something for you. If you mention Woodward Sports, all you got to do is mention it. Anytime during your meal, just mention Woodward Sports. Boom, 20% off the deal. That's right. Boom. Barry Sanders off the deal. Scan this QR code above my head and to get you a chance to win a helicopter ride for two around the city of Detroit. The summer giveaways are still rocking and rolling with BlackRock. You see what I did right there, man? Scan that QR code. You can get yourself into the game, and also it gives you a chance to win tickets. 4 season ticket openers September 14th. The helicopter ride, the BlackRock volcano. Let's do it, man. Get yourself down to BlackRock today.
I see them fish and chips down there, man.
Oh, man. That looks good, doesn't it?
It's amazing.
Everything they put on there, yeah. Can we start asking for that now, Kool-Aid? Do you think they'll come
I think
through?
We can.
I'm going to. I asked for the steak from BlackRock. I never got that, but we'll try the fish and chips. Let's be honest, folks. We like those fish and chips. We like BlackRock's those steaks. We like everything associated with it, and for good reason. And we also like convenience, simple, and professional. That's what you get when you come to Lady Jane's for sure.
Elite transition.
Haircuts for men. You walk in, you sign. See, they really appreciate your time. They understand that it's valuable. You walk in, you sign in, the next thing you know, you're in a chair, you're being helped by a lovely young lady, you're having a really good conversation, and then you look great going out the door. Lady Jane's is open 10 till 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It is wicked awesome.
Why do we fight? We fight to protect the innocent, to hold the powerful accountable, to bring the oppressors to justice. Why do we fight? We fight to secure and preserve our civil liberties, to get each and every one of our clients the justice they deserve, and to make the lives of real people just like you whole again. ThenFights.com.
Planet Fitness now has even more best-in-class strength equipment. Join today for $1 down and save.
We're stepping it up.
We're not slowing down.
Finding new faith, new focus.
Love that new equipment smell.
So, you in?
Join the club today. Save when you join for just $1 down, $15 a month. Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet.
Every Sunday, there's only one place to get all your kneecapping, hard-hitting Detroit Lions coverage. Start your Sunday with the Lions Weekly Report with Broder and Terry Foster. Then, the Lions pregame show with Neil Rule and Sean Belizean. At kickoff, keep it locked in for all the emotions of the game with a live watch party with the heavyweights. Then, recap the game with the Lions postgame show with Anson. Game days, there's no other place to be than Woodward Sports. Live all game day. Go Lions!
Last week, one of the shows we had here was one of the best we've ever had. And I'm not going to lie. A big reason is because we had Buddy's Pizza. It was a really good sports conversation, but it was really good Buddy's Pizza, too. They had their new barbecue brisket pizza. They had their barbecue chicken salad. They had the super summer sundae. All of it comes your way, courtesy of our friends at Buddy's and your neighborhood Buddy's, or Buddy'sPizza.com. They also have the smash stacks that are burgers done the Detroit style way. So square slice, smash stack, full flavor, only at Buddy's Pizza and Buddy'sPizza.com.
Football season is coming up, so make sure you can get in your sports backs. Make sure you use Caesars Sportsbook. Scan that QR code and enter the code Woodward1000, and if your first bet doesn't hit, you'll get your deposit back right back. And that bet can be up to $1,000. That's right. If you bet up $1,000 and it doesn't hit, you can give it right back. Minimum bet is just $20. Download the Caesars Sportsbook app today. Official sportsbook of Woodward Sports. Use code Woodward1000 or scan the QR code on the screen.
And we bet.
All right. I love this time of the year because there are so many different ways we look at teams and we look at players.
Yeah.
And we try to figure out their importance. People did it while you were playing too. How quickly can they get involved, Braylon Edwards, with the offense? Are they going to use him as a downfield threat? All these different things. I'm sure players hear it as well. If I asked you, there's a player that this team needs, but we're not sure what that player brings, who would be the answer to that? Because for me, it's Marcus Davenport. Marcus Davenport is exactly what this team needs. We just don't know what he's going to deliver. Is there anybody else other than Marcus Davenport like that on this team this year?
You can call me a homer as it relates to the offensive line today. Mm-hmm. I'm going another offensive lineman. I think you need a right guard. I think one of the biggest things about Detroit's team last year is Kevin Zeiler was stout and firm at that right guard. They were allowed to do so much in the run game. If you start to notice, when they got in about the fringe area, the 25 in, they would lean on running to the right and then come back to the left once they got on the goal line. So, and this is Tay Rowley. This is who they drafted in the second round. Like, he's the player that they need, and I believe he's the player they got. I think
we just don't know what he is yet.
We just don't know what he is right now because is he a center? Is he a right guard? What can he do? And he has a little bit of multifaceted game in his game plan. That's what he did at Georgia. So we don't know what he can be, but I think he's exactly what the Lions need.
Is that confusing to you when coaches in the front office are saying we still see him as a center, future center, but you have him playing right guard, knowing, like you said earlier in the show, that Graham Glasgow's favorite position was right guard? Why do you think that would be? Why would they suggest they still foresee him as a center, but he's going to start the year playing guard? Why would that be?
Maybe it's just he's more comfortable. Maybe that's a space he's more comfortable in. So, I mean, I think he's going to be a really good right guard. Remember, they had plans to move Pineda left tackle. I don't hear anybody talking about that.
That's a good point.
I don't hear anybody. I never saw Taylor Decker go to right tackle. I saw Panay become the best right tackle in the game. That's what I saw. But if it's like that early, then maybe it's just him trying to get comfortable at a position. And they believe this is the easiest position for him to get comfortable in first, have some success there, and if it doesn't gel, to get somebody else down the line. But I really think this is where they feel he's going to be. I think the conversation is moot.
Okay, that's good.
Realistically.
I would say that about Marcus Davenport for a lot of reasons. Listen to what Dan Campbell had to say about Marcus Davenport. Was this yesterday or was this earlier today? I believe
earlier today.
Earlier today. Go ahead, play it, Kool-Aid.
Another guy's had a really good camp for us. You know, he's done exactly what we asked him to do. He's got some versatility with his ability to play really in all the packages that we have. And there's nothing more that he needs to show me. You know, like I know he can do it all. And he's doing everything he can to take care of his body. And, he went through a rigorous offseason, to try to help all that. Which is a credit to him to put the work out, and he's in a good place right now. And, him opposite of Hutch it's pretty good right now, So I think he just continue on the trajectory he's at right now and just, man, take it one day at a time. I'm glad we got him.
Look, in a perfect world, 2021, Marcus Davenport plays for the 2025-2026 Lions.
Yeah.
Because in 2021 with New Orleans, he played in 11 games, 9 starts, a career-high 9 sacks. Like the following year, that dude played in 15 of his team's 16 games and only had, 2 sacks? Half a sack. So depending on which Marcus Davenport you get, and we all believe because he's never played a full season that you're not going to get him for a full season. But a good friend of mine once said, if I can get him for 15 to 20 snaps, I keep going back to that on a regular basis, I'm going to be really happy. If that dude stays alive, as in dresses every single Sunday, for all 17 games, and he's able to deliver 6.5, 7 sacks, I'd be pretty happy.
But this is why Lions fans, and I agree with him on this, this is why they get mad about the right edge position. Because the fact that we're sitting here talking about if we can get back to something this man did 4 years ago, 4 years ago, we're trying to get back to that. Then the following year, when he does play 15 games, he had half a sack. Like, what is the double and triple and quadruple down on Marcus Davenport? Now, this year we know it's because you paid him last year, so I understand it this year. But what is the double, quadruple, and triple down? That's what Lions fans are. That's why they trip, Brad. That's why they trip on the right end position. It's nothing that you've done in the first 3 rounds. It's nothing you've done there. It's nothing you've done in terms of turning this franchise around with Dan Campbell and with the players and with Sheila. It's the fact that one of the biggest positions, you consistently are giving us a player where we got to go back 4 years to find his best year, and then the next year where he played more games, he didn't have that same production. Yeah. And then the last 2 seasons after that, he was injured, most notably last year. So that's why people get frustrated with the right end position. It's nothing against. It's nothing against the great moves you made. We know, we call him the mad scientist. Mm-hmm. He's an evil genius. But this particular spot, what is it?
Yeah.
That's why fans get upset about the right end.
I think that's so well put. Do you think, and maybe this is kind of a rhetorical question, the general managers just, in their head, this guy's going to work out. I'm going to show everybody this is going to work out. What is it about, besides the physical presence? It's there for sure. I mean, when you're 6'6", 290 pounds, and you can move the way he does, that's a special talent. Do you feel like it's one of those situations where Brad Holmes is out there just to prove people right or wrong?
Sometimes you get stuck. I mean, sometimes you just want to be right. You know, sometimes you keep pressing a situation, you keep pressing an issue because you know it's something there, and even if it hadn't shown itself, you say, man, if they can just see what we see, man, if I can just make myself right. So part of it is wanting to be right. Mm-hmm. Part of it is I don't want to be wrong yet again, and it's cool. Trust me, that's how I am. Like, I will keep bringing a topic back so I can find a way to be right in the conversation. Okay, maybe I was wrong about that, but this part over here, so it's some of that, and I get that. It's just, I hope it works out.
He's only 28.
Yeah,
but I understand exactly. I think you're speaking for fans out there right now. because they're asking themselves and they're saying out loud. These are the conversations they're having. It used to be about the quarterback, right?
Yeah.
Holy crap, I want Mike McMahon to start instead of John Kitna. But right now, this is what it's about. What is the fetish with a guy like Marcus Davenport? And why? And when I say to you, he's 6'6", 285, 290 pounds. He's only 28 years old. And at one point had 9 sacks. That is tantalizing, is it not?
It's very tantalizing.
But when I associate the name with it, and then the number of games missed, not games played, we talk more about number of games missed, that's when the big-time question marks come in.
Every time we talk about Marcus Davenport, anytime I hear his name, it's almost like Dwayne Casey just pops up and says, you know, guys, the best ability is availability. And that's what it's always going to boil down to. And there are people like, shout out to my brother KG. Love KG. He makes the case that, man, if Davenport plays, have y'all seen what he does when he gets the time? But we haven't been able to depend on that here. And when you're talking about a Super Bowl window, not a team in transit, not a team kind of elevating, you're talking about Shep's face with the Super Bowl window. The Super Bowl garage that the Detroit Lions have right now. You want to take advantage of that.
Braylon's right. And not to pick on KG because he's not here. But the word,
don't tell KG I'm right. But please don't tell KG I'm right. It's gonna start beef.
I think KG knows you're right. I said it too.
True.
If you use I used the word and then you emphasized it. If we are always talking about that position with the if associated with the sentence, and that's what people are sick and tired of. Like Kool-Aid just said, we know what he can be when he's healthy. Really? Do we?
Yeah.
I just gave you the stat. He played 15 games one year, started 9, he had half a sack.
Yeah.
That's not his job. His job is to make sure he's getting pressure on the quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are two ifs, and KG has an if he's healthy, and then we have an if he's not healthy. And I think the problem is the one where he's not healthy, it outweighs the one where he is healthy, at least right now. Because the snapshot we have, I'm sorry, it's not 4 years ago. What have you done for me lately? The snapshot I have was the last 2 years. So I'm looking at it from if he's not healthy, which guess what? Typically he's not. So if he's not healthy and you didn't bring in Zadarius Smith or you didn't bring in this guy or you didn't bring in that guy, now it's like, well, you knew this could be, and this if was worse than if he was successful because there's no track record of that being the case.
That's right. You could have saved yourself $2.5 million or so. And you said the last 2 years where he's played 6 games. That's it. He started 4, he's played 6. In fact, the last extended season he played, as I mentioned, 15 starts or 15 games played, 9 starts, a half a sack, only 8 quarterback hits, and only 2 tackles for loss, which ties a career low for him. That is troubling. Your point probably changes my mind about this. To constantly use the word if, I'm sick and tired of it. And I used it too. And now I got to peel it back. I got to reel it in. It's ridiculous that we're constantly using it, and not just with Marcus Davenport, but with that position in general.
Yeah, that's real.
Yeah, I mean, the Lions should be better than this.
They're a better team now, and the Lions are a team now that doesn't do if. If was cool when this was 4 years ago, 5 years ago. Any year, 5 years and back. It was if this player. Oh, man, I got it then. But see, your Detroit Lions are now one of the best teams in the league. Their team has been to an NFC championship 2 years ago. They're a team that won the NFC title outright. They won the most in the regular season last year with 15 wins. No longer is the if. It's not responsible. It's not responsible saying if. The last if we had was J-Mo, and I think the if is done. I think that the if is done on that, unless you say if he was worth moving up 20 spots. But other than that, we can't be in a space of saying if this works out, if this pans out, especially at a major position like this.
It should be when, not if. It should be when this works out. If I ask you the X factor for the Lions this year, would it be Marcus Davenport? Mine is Tyreek Williams, by the way. He's my X factor.
I would much rather it be him than Davenport.
Well, it can be whoever you think it is. Yeah. The reason I pick Williams is because you're going to tread some water here. Lopez will be important. Reeder will be important. There's a lot of guys. That kid's got to be playing better than where he was drafted or expected to be drafted or his rookie status for you to be multi-dimensional defensively, interior-wise, okay? Until Aleem McNeil gets back. And let's face it, Aleem McNeil is one of the better defensive tackles in all of football. So in order for you to have an X factor, in order for you to have somebody who's going to make that big of a difference, it's a lot to throw on a rookie. I get it. And I'm sure there's a multiple,
You're making good points,
there's
though.
multiple answers for this.
Yeah.
But think about when teams are preparing to play against Detroit. Do you think they want to throw against those guys in the secondary? They don't, because those guys are good. Everybody knows that, all right? They know Hutchinson's going to rush the passer. What's the weakness? I hate to tell you this. The Lions do have a weakness, and it has to be against the run, doesn't it?
Up front, right?
Okay. So that's why he's my X factor. Like, people think it's Marcus Davenport. The reason I bring this up is I was talking with some buddies over the weekend, and they said Davenport's the X factor, and I said, why? Like, there's a part of me that almost doesn't even count like he's going to be part of it.
Yeah.
Just because I've been burned before. Who would be your X factor?
I thought long and hard about this because I think you can go with a couple guys and they can be everybody's answers, or you can dare to do something different. And I dare to do something different. Sam Laporta.
Why?
I think Sam Laporta is out there right now because I believe that with the offense going the way they are, trying to figure out the offensive line early on in the season. I'm not saying it won't get figured out. It's going to be a challenge in the beginning. That's just how chemistry in football works. I think it's great to have a weapon that people kind of forgot about because he didn't play last year that we know was – Sam Laporta was an inch away from being all-pro as a rookie. That's the type of talent that he has, man. He allows you to get some quick throws. He allows the quarterback to be very serviceable and kind of get into rhythm, stay comfortable.
He was
stay
second-team
on point.
All-Pro as a rookie.
As he should be,
Pretty
100%.
Yeah.
You see what happened in the game, and I know it's different, Saturday in Ann Arbor. How Klein got off, how it made it a little bit easier for Bryce to gain rhythm in other spaces. I know it's two difference, the NFL versus an 18-year-old. But that's the similar thing. Sam Laporta's a damn good tight end. And you can get him back humping in the rhythm that he was 2 years ago. I think that makes it easy for the running game. I think it makes it easier for J-Mo, Amon-Ra, St. Brown.
I like that.
See, now you don't just have, double coverage, Amon-Ra, St. Brown. Excuse me, double coverage, Amon-Ra, double coverage, J-Mo. And no. Don't forget about the tight end, who they use very serviceably. I think he was 40 yards under 1,000. I think he had 10 touchdowns, if I remember correctly. So with that being said,
right.
That's my X factor for this offense. I think that helps J-Mo, and I'm talking about Johnny Morton now, the offensive coordinator. I think that helps him and Goff stay ahead of some teams.
That's really good, man. Makes me think. 889 yards is
Excuse
a
me,
rookie. That's all right. I mean,
110
you're right
yards.
there. And 10 touchdowns to your point. Last year did miss a game. Okay, missed a game. Much fewer targets.
Yeah.
Like 40 fewer targets last year. I'm rounding. 40 fewer targets last year than the year before his rookie campaign. Still 726 yards and 7 TDs.
Yep.
So that's okay, but it's not the Pro Bowl status that he received. All right, that's a really good one. Thanks for making me think. Kool-Aid, who would be your X factor for the Lions?
My X factor for the Detroit Lions is one, I'm calling him Mr. Green Dot this year. They have teased this. They have talked about this. They drafted him. They had expectations, even me. I'm a Kool-Aid guy. And even that night, that draft
You just go third person again.
to the chagrin of Matt Shepard. No, look, I had to get with Terry Foster, and I just had to say, hey, look, and Darren McCarty, we're just going to trust in Brad Holmes because it didn't make a lot of sense. Now you're looking at a guy who, for the last 2 years, they say he is ready to be that guy. And you saw him go out there and lead the team in tackles last year. And now I'm looking forward to him taking the next step up, not just from a statistical standpoint, but there's just something different that it seems Alexander Zaloni brings to the table as a leader. And I'm looking for Jack Campbell. I do believe he is going to make that leap next year. You're talking about the uncertainty in front of them on that defensive line while they're waiting to get healthy. I believe that linebacker core, that unit, primarily Jack Campbell is going to play a big role in this team. Really not feeling too much of Aleem McNeil being out.
Yeah, 131 tackles. It's going to be hard because I'm envisioning a lot of those offensive linemen getting to that second level. Campbell's ability to get off those.
Not if Davenport is right. Yeah. Not if Talik Williams is right. Not if DJ Reader is right. Isn't that the game we're playing right now? The if game.
Oh, you reeled us in.
So
I give you credit. You reeled us in.
Yeah.
I think Campbell. I think Campbell has established himself. I think he's going to be a really good linebacker for this team for a while. I would like to see more tackles behind the line of scrimmage. I'm getting nitpicky here.
That's fine.
All right, I think that's how you putting teams behind the chains. I think is going to be really important for Detroit early on in the season.
But he has to be better at that with the uncertainty in that defensive
100%.
line. He has to be.
I think when people like yourself, Shep, get nitpicky, it's because you believe in a player more. This isn't you just being nitpicky to nitpick. This is being nitpicky because you know Jack Campbell has that type of ability. Yeah. So this is something that you know is in his wheelhouse. So it's not fair. It's fair to nitpick if you believe somebody can be like that.
Yeah, I like that. Thank you. All right, Ryan, who's your X factor for the
Yeah,
line
you get to
this
speak.
year? Come on.
You get to speak.
My X factor. Oof,
You can duplicate Laporta. You can say.
I was gonna say
Campbell.
back when we were talking about the guy that's gonna take that next step. I was gonna say Mahogany, but then I also thought Jack Campbell. I think Jack Campbell. I think he's gonna be the X factor as well. I think he's gonna take that next step and be the real leader of the defense. I believe Anzalone's contract is still being negotiated. Or that situation's still there, and I expect Jack Campbell to take.
What do you mean negotiated? He's got his contract done.
It's all done. That's 100%.
Well, he's here for this year. You're saying.
I'm saying for the future.
Oh, for the future.
For the future.
I'm sorry.
And I don't
think he'll be here after this year. But
and that was to my point of Jack Campbell. We might have a whole linebacker spot with Anzalone gone. I think Jack Campbell's going to really try to set that tone for this defense all year long.
Good. I like it. The reason I say that about Anzalone is unless he's willing to take a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
I just think they're gearing up to try and keep their youngins.
It's the Brad Holmes way, those 1-year deals.
They want their Cubs, and I get it. I do too. They're going to save his. If you haven't recognized it by now, he is angling to keep certain key guys. Who those guys are, he's got them ranked. How I feel about him doesn't really matter, but we all know the names. So he's doing it.
The Jack is a good one. The reason why the Jack is a good one because if this defensive line is better. Okay, now I'm not being funny now. Now I'm being serious. I believe Tariq Williams is going to be a good player. We already know what DJ Reader is going to be. If Marcus Davenport and that defensive line can give pressure, and they can be stout, and they can be firm, you know what happens? The linebackers they're one-on-one. Like, there's no one on them. You know what linebacker play looks like when you got a good defensive line? It allows linebackers to just come freely. Like when you have a linebacker, that's going to be funny. But when you have a linebacker in that, the whole conversation is like that. When you have a linebacker that can come in the hole like real talk, and there's no one there, he's free. He can go where you want to. He can make the plays behind the line of scrimmage. Yeah. He can roll around and chase the quarterback. He can get down the field and at where he's at it when you keep him free. And I think they have the potential to potentially keep these linebackers free. And if Jack Campbell's running around like a free man, and also with Alex Anzalone coming back, it's no longer a lot of thinking. I think he's gotten to the point where it's second nature now, but he's got his guy back to the left of him. I think Jack Campbell's going to be reckless abandonment in a clear mind.
It's interesting. Nobody brought up Derek Barnes, and I thought somebody might. I mean, here's a guy who, he played 3 games all of last year. Really another young guy. I think he's like only 26. Yeah. A young guy who is supposed to be, he's not Micah Parsons, a specialty. He's supposed to be able to get home and come off the edge. Now, in fairness, those who argue that need to look at his history and realize he has really never been that guy. But he's an athletic linebacker. He's not as big as Campbell, but he's got good speed when he's right, and he's a guy who's supposed to be able to, if you're going to look at a guy take the next step, Derek Barnes is not a bad number to watch.
The reason why I didn't pick Derek Barnes, I don't think about Derek Barnes, is because no disrespect. Like, I haven't seen anything to make me watch further.
Gotcha.
I haven't seen anything where I'm like, oh, this guy. I feel like he's not too far from his ceiling, if you will. So I don't know what more is in there for me to say that he's going to take a leap or that he's going to be an X factor. I haven't seen that much, but I'm not saying it's not there.
Yeah.
What I've seen in the time he's played, I haven't seen something where I'm like, there could be something.
I get it. And I think you're right about that. I mean, we're talking about a guy who's supposed to be a linebacker who can get after the quarterback. And again, I'm not comparing him to some of the greatest, outside linebackers or edge rushers.
Gotcha.
But he's supposed to be that guy, and he's only got 4 career sacks. Okay, but
pursuit issues, inability to really wrap up when he does get home.
Right.
That type of stuff is what's limited him, in my opinion.
Right. In 2022, if there's the word, if, the guy did play quite a bit, And if he could be a little bit more productive, he could be a stabilizing rotation part of the force, okay? He's not going to play every down. You don't necessarily need him to play 84% of the defensive snaps, okay? That's the one thing. I'll tell you this. In working with Braylon, it's really opened my eyes to how much you need certain players. Like, I've always been a guy in baseball who feel like I want everyday players.
Gotcha.
I want to be able to write the damn lineup out and know who's going to play shortstop, second base, center field, catcher, and another position. I get there's going to be some rotation, but I want everyday players, okay? I want the Phillies. All right? I'll be honest with you. I want the Phillies.
The roster doesn't change.
I get where Trey Turner's playing. I know Nick Castellanos is playing. I know Schwarber's playing. I know JT Realmuto's playing. I know Bryce Harper's playing. I feel good about that situation. Same thing in the NFL. I want my guys in there who are playing positions other than the rotational positions, which is strictly the defensive line. Sometimes it's the secondary, nickel, packages, whatever. But overall, it's the defensive line, right? Those are the guys. I want to see those guys. But what you've taught me is that, if you get a collective group, and Derek Barnes is part of the collective group, if it's him and Davenport and so on and so forth, if those guys collectively can combine for something, then I can be okay with it. But I don't want that at all the positions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%. Speaking of your boys collectively, they got another series win.
They did get another series win. They did.
Let's go.
Now they need a win today against the Mets.
Number one team in AL.
They are. They got 80 wins, and Toronto's got 79.
Yeah, they got the same amount of losses, but we got one more win.
Yeah, 80 wins. So good for them. And Skubal was phenomenal the other day. And it really makes you appreciate greatness because he is. I try not to use that word very often, but he is great. There's no doubt about it. Juan Soto was great yesterday. I don't know if he's worth over $700 million. You get a grand slam.
He had a flash.
Yeah, he had a flash.
He had a flash.
And in fairness to Juan Soto, okay, look at the number of homers he's got. He's approaching 40. I don't think he'll get there with 25 games left, but he's got 40 or close to 40. And his team's in the playoff hunt, okay? So,
in fairness to him to say was there's nothing he could have done this year where people would validate his contract. Like, he absolutely would have had to go out there and hit 65 home runs, 140 RBIs, and bat 350 for someone to say, yo, worth it.
I don't disagree with you. To your point earlier about Arch Manning and others, this comes with the territory. So you knew that was coming. That's number one.
That's fair.
The other thing would be it doesn't help you, especially when you're playing in Queens. It doesn't help you when you're pissed off at your manager, so you're going to stand there and take 3 strikes right down the middle of the plate and not swing the bat.
Yeah, that's
so that happened on more than one occasion. All right, so you're not getting anybody on your side when you do that. You can hit 36 bombs, okay, and that's what he's got right now. You can drive in, however many. You can walk 113 times. That's great. But if that's the stuff you're going to do, you better frickin' win.
I'm going to take a page out of Shep's book and take it back. If you're going to do that, you better be Reggie Jackson.
Exactly right.
If you're going to do that, you better, what I mean by that, win World Series, and you're the reason. Like, you got to do stuff like that.
I don't know how you validate that kind of money, and that could be part of the reason.
They want to pay him, so it's validated.
Amen to that. Yeah, get what you can. Maybe that's part of the reason people feel the way they do about Goff, because he's making, $53 million. 53. Okay.
True. Good point.
Soto is a guy, if I said to you, he's going to give you 36 bombs and drive in 90, is that enough?
Nah.
And it's not. Right. But if his team wins the division and they win the World Series, do you care about his stats or how much money he makes?
No.
Hell no.
Nah.
That's where it's going to be the be-all, end-all, right? Because, by the way, just so people know, Riley Green's got more RBIs than he does. All right? And Riley Green doesn't make that. Riley Green's got 32 homers to Juan Soto's 36.
If I was Riley Green's agent, I would be in the front office right now. Look, you are going to give him you're going to pay Riley Green exactly what we say.
And you know what people are saying right now. You know what they're screaming? And they're probably in the chat screaming it too. By the way, Shep, look at how many strikeouts Riley Green has compared to Juan Soto. You're right. But Riley Green doesn't make $700 million. And Riley Green's a big reason, one of the primary reasons, his team has the most wins in the American League. Quick timeout, then we get to the mailbag after this on the Braylon Edwards Show.
Yes, sir. And you guys already know it is college football season. It is back. It's back. And you guys already know where you can get the best coverage. It is right here at Woodward Sports Network. All right, shout out to that dude, Justin, and intern Haley Scott, for holding it down every Tuesday. That's today, 7:30 p.m. All right, so the Chris Fall mornings are in, and you know what that means? College football is back. Stay locked in with everything college football all season long, from touchdowns to tailgates, rivalries to rankings. We got you covered, all right? Don't miss a minute. Again, the Woodward College Football Show. I'm just letting y'all know so you don't forget. Tap in Tuesdays, 7:30 p.m. It's your home for all things college football, University of Michigan Wolverines, and Michigan State Spartans.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Planet Fitness now has even more best-in-class strength equipment. Join today for $1 down and save.
We're stepping it up.
We're not slowing down.
Finding new faith, new focus.
Love that new equipment smell.
So, you in?
Join the club today. Save when you join for just $1 down, $15 a month. Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet.
Hunting season is almost here, Detroit, and your Lions are on the prowl. Make sure you're locked into Woodward Sports for all the Dan Campbell reactions, Jared Goff touchdowns, Amon-Ra first downs, Penny pancakes, Kirby picks, Gibbs big plays, and of course, Jack Fox's leg. Stay locked in on all your Lions coverage right here on Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports. So, you're a Detroit sports fan, huh? Well then, make sure you subscribe to all the Woodward sports pages on YouTube. We have Woodward Baseball, Woodward Pistons, and of course, Woodward Hockey. Get breakdowns, updates, and bonus coverage of all things Detroit. So pick your favorite sport and follow along with the best Detroit sports coverage ever made. From Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Why do we fight? We fight to protect the innocent, to hold the powerful accountable, to bring the oppressors to justice. Why do we fight? We fight to secure and preserve our civil liberties, to get each and every one of our clients the justice they deserve, and to make the lives of real people just like you whole again. ThenFights.com.
You've already told Jack Campbell that you're not paying Alex Anzalone. He won't be here next year. Mm-hmm. So why wait till next year to do it? You can lock and load now. And I think that sets more of a tone for no. It's his team.
Do you value the captains at the National Football League level? I mean, what's the value they bring to a team? You immediately start shaking your head.
Because at this point, it'd be 10 captains next year. It'd be 12. Everybody be a captain in 3 or 4 years. In fact, I think somebody did that. Somebody did that where they all had C's on their jersey to start a game. There's so many guys, man. I don't know. Lions have good captains, but
okay,
you don't need 7, 8, 9 captains.
I don't like to bring up this sore subject with my friend Braylon Edwards, but sometimes you can't help it. I don't know.
I was captain of my high school basketball team and a high school football team. Just throwing that out.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me, but I was going to bring up the Cleveland Browns real quick. That had nothing to do with the
I wasn't captain there.
Yeah. Maybe that was part of their problem.
Yeah,
their assistant general manager is by the name of Catherine Hickman. Okay? Somebody asked her about how the Browns evaluate quarterbacks. Joe Flacco is in camp. Kenny Pickett, right?
Yep.
Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel. Her quote was, "I'd just say we go back to the plan we have in place, acquiring as many valuable data points as we can."
All we amount to is data points.
When Jim Schwartz was here, I always felt like he thought he was the smartest guy in the room, and he's a really good DC, by the way. He's an excellent DC. Not a great head coach.
It works like that.
Always felt like he was the smartest guy in the room. When somebody answers a question like that, don't you have the same feeling? You're acting like the smartest person in the room. Can you give us a football answer for a football question? You know where I'm coming from with this?
Yeah, also too, like when you've not had success and it's not worked, like don't come to this podium with more BS.
Yeah, right.
Like all you've given us is BS.
Yeah.
Like last time you were, I guess
talk football.
They don't know how.
Oh my God, it's
they don't know how anymore.
It's unbelievable.
They don't know how.
It's another example of why you should feel fortunate that the Lions are who they are right now. All right, Kool-Aid, let's get to the mailbag before we say goodbye on a Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah, definitely. I told the people, let's get those mailbag questions in the chat, and the first one that was in was Michael Wary asking.
Mike.
He asked, how many sacks is Hutch going to get in Game 1?
Game 1, Green Bay Packers, average offensive line, quarterback that tends to get frazzled, if you will. I give him 1.
Wow.
I give him 1.
Okay.
I give him 1.
I think he's going to be overcharged and out to prove a point. Give me 2.5.
I knew it.
That's a lot. That's a lot. It is. Think about it for a minute.
But it's understood.
Trey Hendrickson had 17.5 sacks, led the National Football League last year. In other words, he had a sack a game. So you're getting quarterback pressures. You're getting sacks. I'm sure they've got a plan, just like Detroit supposedly has a plan for Micah Parsons. So maybe Jordan Love's going to get rid of it quicker and so on and so forth because they know who's pinning their ears back. But I think he's going to run around a little bit because Detroit's secondary is so good. Again, guys are going to be covered. He's going to have to scramble a little bit, and Hutchinson's going to track him down a little bit. Give me 2.5.
I'm going to go 2 as well with Shep. Just the sole fact of he took him half a year to get back, such a tough injury to come back from as well.
Can't wait.
He's going to be ready to go, and it's going to be amazing. We're going to see his celebrations in full effect with a little bit extra at the end of them.
And that's why I'm going Trey. Give me 3 for my man Aiden Hutchinson. Give me 3.
That's a lot.
Listen, it is a lot. I'm very bullish. I am very bullish. I told people last year certain things. And you know what? The Lions proved me right. Yeah. I'm going to continue to be bullish on who I believe Aiden Hutchinson will be in Game 1. Like I think
who's going to have more, him or Parsons?
Game 1? Ooh.
Well, I'm going to go Hutch still.
You said what, Ryan?
I'm still go Hutch. Over Parsons.
Listen, I'm bullish about Hutch. When you hear Dan Campbell's comments, when you hear Brad Holmes talk about him, you talk about who he is in practice. Kelvin Shepard, he's gotten better. This guy's better than he was last year when he was already at a pace that had him still as one of the tops in sacks by the midseason. I do believe that he's going to come out in this first game and be hot. The first game, yes.
Like Parsons isn't going to be hot and motivated and so on. Okay, Braylon, how about you?
Hey, he got to get a shot in his back.
Like what? And welcome to the NFL.
Exactly. How many shots is Braylon taking?
None of your business. None of your business. Different era for me. I think Michael would win the sack battle, but I will say this: those sacks won't come against Penei Sewell.
That's right, but they're going to move him around.
Yeah, he'll have sacks. They just won't be on Penei.
The belief that it's we got Penei Sewell, we're okay. Green Bay knows you got Penei Sewell too.
Newsflash, you can move defensive play.
If somebody with a headset and a microphone knows it, I'm sure the Green Bay Packers coaches know it. If he's moving around the middle, he's going to move at the other end. They're going to do all kinds of stuff with him because they haven't really had a guy like him in a while, right?
Yeah, I will say this though, he did look impressive. You know what I'm saying? Just doing drills. Like, I saw the pop in the man. He'll be fine.
Yeah, he's a different body. He's 100%. A different breed, and he's really, really good.
He's also only going into year 5.
I know.
Which means he's still a kid.
That's amazing to me. We got to get out of here. We appreciate everybody for the likes and the information in the chat. You're always the best audience in sports. It's awesome stuff. Mm-hmm. We'll see you again tomorrow. Ryan Kool-Aid, thanks for being here as always.
Thank you to Hudson Advance for 3 sacks.
Big up to Naomi Osaka for beating Coco Gauff. 4.5 years removed from her last championship and having a kid. Shout out to Naomi Osaka.
Yeah, shout out to her, but I was rooting for Gauff. We'll see you tomorrow at 2 o'clock.
What else is new?
Let's go.
Ever wonder what goes on inside the game?
Deep ball's got a man and got him. Touchdown, Braylon Edwards.
Join Braylon Edwards and Shep.
Edwards has it. 10-5, touchdown.
On the Braylon Edwards Show with Shep.
Ball looks in zone. Got Edwards for the touchdown.
Where they dive deep into the heart of sports. Weekdays from 2 to 4 p.m., they're bringing you expert analysis, exclusive interviews, and a fresh perspective on the sports you love. Don't miss it, only on the Woodward Sports Network.